Hello and welcome to the top 10 e-bikes list. I have created this list based on the most popular and most talked about e-bikes in the recent years. But before we jump into the video, I just want to let you know that my friend Wrong Way is also going to make a top 10 list, but he's going to make it about electric scooters. So I would highly suggest checking his channel out after this video. I will leave a link in the description to his channel, Neematic FRX1. First off, let's start with the Neematic/Ubco FRX1. Well, where to even start? This bike launch has been a big mess. But they did finally get through with it, I guess. Still haven't seen one ridden in proper testing, but I guess it will happen since the company from New Zealand, Ubco, bought the design from Neematic and they are taking pre-orders now. Ubco is also known for their 2x2 off-road commuter adventure motorcycle. I really want to see the FRX1 bike to get out of the development phase and get sold. When I actually started to make this list, I didn't realize Ubco had removed the pedals from the design. I'm rather disappointed, and now it's just another e-moto, I guess. Now the starting price currently starts just $1 shy of $10,000 US, so this bike is not cheap by any means. This bike has a steel tubular frame with 15 kilowatts of mid-mounted power with a liquid cooling system. That's just crazy. I mean, that's a really unique design for a mid-mounted motor. Would be really interesting to know how well the liquid cooling system will hold up against the test of time. This bike has a D&M suspension at the front. Not sure what the rear shock is, but I would guess it's a D&M RCP3 or something on those lines. I mean, okay, there is nothing wrong with the D&M suspension, but just considering the price it has, it just seems a bit too low tier. And some other specs about the e-bike: the max speed currently is 80 kilometers per hour. And the range is up to 100 kilometers, maybe closer to 50 kilometers with moderate or fast riding. And this bike has a max torque of 280 newton meters. That's a lot. This bike is packing a 2.2 kilowatt hour battery with a really weird 50 volt setup. It's strange to push so many amps through a mid-mounted motor, because in that configuration you would maybe want to use higher voltage to avoid creating extra heat. But oh well, maybe Ubco has some knowledge I don't. At least according to the spec sheets, this bike has the potential to becoming the ultimate all-terrain e-bike. I absolutely love this bike personally, and I truly hope they can get it to proper production. But only time will tell. Greyp G12. This bike is made in the shelter of the electric car manufacturer Rimac, which is known for their hyper-electric car Concept 1 and C2. But we are not here to talk about cars, we are here to talk about e-bikes. This bike is known as the famous football player's e-bike, as the G12S has customizable side panels, as you can see from these photos. The customizable side panels come with the extra cost, obviously. The bike has a very unique display with lots of information that makes my mouth water just a little bit. It has a fingerprint activated starting system, which is kind of cool, but is it more like a gimmick? Well, you decide. Claimed range is 120 kilometers, but with the battery that size, I would say it's more like 60 or 70 kilometers with modest riding and no pedaling. But the bike comes with a slump drive, so you can pedal at even higher speeds, like over 60 kilometers per hour, depending on the configuration Greyp has decided to go on with the slump drive. Top speed is one of the slowest in the bunch, topping out at 70 kilometers per hour. Great feature on this bike is the rapid charger that allows the bike to be charged from empty to full in just 80 minutes. Peak power of 12 kilowatts is a good amount for your daily city riding. The bike has a RockShox boxer shock at the front, and the same brand makes its appearance in the rear shock also. Sadly, their website isn't working properly, so I can't really tell much more about it than it comes with a hefty €9,000 price tag. Vector Vortex. This mid-mounted hub motor contraption is one of the coolest looking e-bikes on the list. It's borderlining the e-bike and e-motor style, so it's really hard to say actually what category. This frame can house up to 5.5 kilowatt hours of battery capacity, what I have read on Endless Sphere and on Facebook groups. The frame is made out of tubular steel, which gives it this lightweight and great rigidness, coming in at 59 kilograms according to their page. This bike actually has a custom motor. It looks similar to a Curious 205 50H. Nevertheless, it has a great power, and with some modification you can absolutely make this thing fly. The great part about this having a mid-mounted motor is of course that you can change the gearing, what suits you best, and also the weight balance is more focused on the middle of the bike, giving it better maneuverability than most hub motor based e-bikes. As the front fork, this bike has the D&M USD8 with 200mm of travel, and on the rear a D&M Burner 2S with 220mm of travel. This bike stops with the help of Tektro Origa at the front and TPR Zurich at the rear. Both are featuring a 203mm rotors. It does have a 1.6 kilowatt charger that charges the bike battery in just 2 hours. Impressive. Also, at claimed plus 10 kilowatts of power, this bike should be able to climb any hill you throw at it. And at 5.5 thousand euros, this bike is relatively cheap, all things considered. Surron X. But Manati, why is this dirt on your e-bike list, you may? Well, even though this bike doesn't have pedals, I think it comes in such a light weight for a dirt bike, you might as well call it. You might disagree, but this is my top 10 e-bike list. This e-bike shook the market when it first launched. At around $2,800 from China or Russia, check out Danny Orlov out. Awesome dude, helped me a bunch regarding my Surron stuff. This bike was beating every bike in its class and actually didn't really have any competition at that price range. This mid-motor beast is actually the least powerful on the list, coming in as measly 6 kilowatts of peak power. But this bike isn't about the power that comes out of the factory. It's all about the endless possibilities on what you can customize on this bike. It seems like this bike has gathered a cult following around it, with tons of modders making their own tweaks to it. As a standard bike, you get a 60 volt battery with 32 amp hours, and that comes to a 1920 watt hours of battery capacity. Sadly, it comes with a slow 600 watt charger, and once again you get a D&M branded suspension on the front and rear. It's funny how so many brands have D&M suspension. I think the more higher end brand should really have better suspension, because if a bike that comes in at $2,800 can have it, there is no excuses for $10,000 bike to have the same suspension. But anyway, indeed, this bike isn't really about the basic model, it's more about the upgrade path you can take with it. Qulbix Q140MD Core. Qulbix is a well-known e-bike manufacturer based on Slovenia. One of their most well-known models is the Q76R frame model. There have been countless DIY bikes made based on this frame model. This has gathered some street cred on the fast e-bike market for reliable, well-built e-bike frames. But today I'm going to introduce you to the Q140MD Core. It has a mid-mounted 15 kilowatt peak power motor, and this is a surprise. It actually has ferrofluid in the motor. Pretty unique considering that none of the competition have done this except CyklonEbike as far as I know. The motor looks like a QS205, but I'm not sure since they don't actually specify the model on their page. This style of motor minimizes the unsprung mass of the e-bike, so you can hit those high jumps and shred down in the forest. Qulbix is known for their good seat and pedal options, and that's actually for a good reason. I haven't found any other manufacturer that provides bicycle seat and motor style seat options for the same frame. Also, you can opt for the pedal kit that looks absolutely sick, or you can go for the foot pegs, or if you're feeling edgy, you can choose both. Q140MD Core comes with a 72 volt 30 amp hour battery that adds up to 2160 watt hours of capacity, with a sweet 84 volt 10 amp charger that can charge the battery from 0 to full in just 2.5 hours. Since this is a mid-mounted beast, you can choose your gear ratio and decide that do you want more torque or do you want to fly down the streets at 80 km per hour. Suspension is following the usual trend with these types of bikes, so D&M in the front and back. This whole bike weighs in 53.6 kilograms, so it still should keep its maneuverability. They currently have a discount going on, so the bike comes down from 7,450 euros down to 6,700 euros, so it's a relatively good deal. Evolution Power Bikes Rino. A rather new player in the fast e-bike market, but they came out swinging with this awesome beast called Rino. Packing some serious punch with a 81 volt 48 amp hour battery and putting down 13 kilowatts of peak power from a QS205 50H motor. This is no joke, and you can see it from the footage. About a month ago, Evolution finished a new bike that is looking even better than the Rhino, at least in my opinion. Just look at this, absolute amazing artwork done on the Falcon V2 frame. As you can see, the bike is equipped with the new Magura 220mm discs, and they are looking sweet on the Fox 40 fork. With 110 km/h top speed and 13 kilowatts of power again, and with a big battery of 3.9 kWh, it's looking like someone's dream came true. Sadly, there isn't much info about the bike, but as what I have understood, the man behind Evolution Bikes will do a complete custom e-bikes just for your needs, so hit him up if you are interested in these types of sick builds. LMX64. LMX e-bikes are well known for their super lightweight 42 kg off-road e-moto style bikes. That thing was putting out a 6.3 kilowatts of peak power, and at that weight with a mid-mounted motor it's really good for some cool off-roading. But today I want to talk to you about the newest addition to the LMX lineup, which is the LMX64. This bike is so sleek looking that I actually started drooling when I first saw it. Absolute work of art. But now to the specs. There are actually 3 models of the LMX64. EMTB model coming in at 6,000 euros, DH EMTB model at 7,660 euros, and the road legal 45 km/h model at 6,300 euros. The most expensive model has the super smooth Marochi Bomber 58 front suspension and also Marochi CR rear shock. This bike is littered with top of the line specs, and the battery is a removable 850 Wh 14S 5P battery, which is unusual on these faster e-bikes even at this more traditional form factor. The bike produces plus 2,500 watts of peak power, and coming in at 28 kilograms, it's really light. I have seen someone claiming that he is pulling over 6 kilowatts from this bike, but I haven't actually seen any concrete proof of it. And also I just want to mention that it's really interesting how the chain drive is actually on the same side as the disc brake. Wouldn't it get some grease on the disc quite easily? I don't know, I'm sure LMX has thought this through. Zbike Z1. This rather famous e-bike maker broke the world record of the longest range on an e-bike with 621.25 kilometers, and absolutely shattering the previous world record of 367 kilometers of the Delfast e-bike. The record was broken by using their Z1L bike that has 4.2 kilowatt hours of battery capacity, but we are here to talk about top e-bikes. So you can actually get the Zbike Z1 in 2 battery options: A 2.2 kilowatt hour 60 volt 37 amp hour battery, B 2.6 kilowatt hour 72 volt and 37 amp hour battery. Z1 offers 15 kilowatts of peak power, and it even has a active liquid cooling system for the motor. It also uses a unique carbon frame that really no other competition uses. Zbike is also known for their high quality bikes, and it's no wonder if you actually take a look at them. But the price also tells the same story with a 9,277 euros. This isn't a cheap bike, but there is nothing like it on the market. CyklonEbike Venom Total Top. CyklonEbike has quickly gathered an audience for itself at the fast e-bike market. With the lower prices than the competition, they have been able to put out some great bikes that have awesome price to performance ratios. CyklonEbikes are rather hard to compare to the competition because their business model evolves around the base idea of customer can create his or her dream bike. So you can basically choose any parts you have. But as a stock model, the Venom Total Top has a QS205 motor producing a 17,600 watts of peak power with the help of those mean looking hub sinks. But with a big power you actually need a big battery. Venom Total Top has a 3500 watt hour battery, so not as big as some of the competition, but if you are after pure performance and power, you have to do some sacrifices. It has a claimed range of 60 up to 160 kilometers, so you should be able to ride quite a while. I think with that size of a battery you should be expecting about under 100 kilometers with moderate to fast riding. Because we all know you wouldn't be riding any of these bikes on the list at 25 kilometers per hour. This bike also comes with a 84 volt 9 amp hour battery charger, so it doesn't take that long to charge up and take it on the road again. At stock form, this bike has a D&M suspension in the front and rear, and weighing in at about 50 to 55 kilograms, the bike sure can eat some single tracks. And those Hope 203mm floating rotors will let you stop from higher speeds. And I can't talk about CyklonEbike without mentioning my affiliate. So if you want to get one of these, you can use my code MANATTI5 to get 5% off from the bike's price. Stealth Bomber. At number 10, Stealth Bomber, otherwise known as B52. No top 10 e-bike list would be complete without its Stealth Bomber. It doesn't have as much power or as good price to performance ratio, but nobody can argue how big an effect it has had on the fast e-bike market. It used to deliver 5.2 kilowatts of peak power, hence the name, but nowadays Stealth has bumped those numbers up to 6.2 kilowatts of peak power. Also, this bike has a D&M branded suspension, so D&M fork in the front provides 200 millimeters of travel and also takes care of the rear suspension coming in at 250 millimeters of travel. Stealth claims that the bike has a 100 kilometer range with its 2 kilowatt hour battery, but with its competition mode it gets 40 kilometers, which is the range I would guess is nearer the truth. But Stealth does have a 9-speed V-Box that allows you to pedal at even higher speeds and get some extra few kilometers of range. And as you can see from this clip, you can actually pedal it at 90 kilometers per hour. Insane. Sadly, there is no getting around the price though. Starting price coming in at 8,000 euros and with a whopping 12,250 euros fully spec'd, and that doesn't even give you more power or anything like that. Just slightly better brakes, some lights and a good suspension and different colors than white, red, grey or black. But nevertheless, this bike is iconic on the e-bike market. That was the list of the top 10 e-bikes that are the most popular and the most talked about e-bikes in the recent years. If you want to see more lists or content about e-bikes in general, hit the like button and subscribe. Maybe even considering becoming a Patreon. There you can see my videos whenever my editor finishes them up. But that is all for this video. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye. Check out some more videos if you like this kind of content.